In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to convert text fields and number fields to dates. As you might know, that dates is actually quite important in Excel, and you cannot really use dates if you don't have the right formats. So I've got 3 different dates here. Although it looks like dates, it's not dates. How do you check if something is a date? You select it and you change it to a comma. So if I change it to the comma number, nothing really happens. And when it's a date, it will physically change to a number format. So if I change this back to date format, you'll see that nothing really happens. So it was on general. If I really input a date, so I start with the year, the month, and the day. You'll see Excel turns mine around, but let's just do that again. So it's always first the year, then the month, then the day. Always be safe and do it like that, because then it will be in the correct date format. Later modules of Excel does convert other types of formats, but this is the safest thing I've seen. So if I enter, you'll see my computer does turn it around, but I've still put it in the right format. So if we do the same thing on this one, if I change this one to a number, you'll see it does actually convert. If I make it back to a date, it will go to date. So that's a quick way to check if something is a date or not. So the first one is quite easy to get to date. The way you do it, the formula you're going to use is the date formula. So the date formula consists of 3 fields. It's got the year field, which will be 2015, the month field, which will be 4, and the day field, which will be 30. So if you press OK now, you can see here the code for this is 42124, so that's the number for the specific date. If I press OK, it's a date. And I can do, if I change this to number, it changes. If I change it back to date, it changes. But this is sort of the long way around. I've got the year, month, and day. How do we extract this year, month, and day out of this text? Well, we can use formulas. And there's 3 text formulas we can use. We can first use the left formula to get the year out. And you can refer to the text formulas how to do this. Then the mid formula to take the year out, and then the right formula to take the day out. And you're welcome to do this inside of the date formula, but for this example we're going to do it separate. So then it's the year, the month, the day, and there you've got a date. The next one is actually quite easy. There's a formula in Excel called the date value formula. This date value formula, you can put a certain text of date inside of it, and it will convert it to a date automatically for you. Now the date needs to be in this format, 1 July 2015. So the day must be before, the July must be in the middle, so the month, and the year at the end. Then if the middle part is a text, for example January, February, March, it will convert that to a date for you already. And you'll see this is now a number. So if I change this to a date, it will change the date. And it works quite well. So this one you can also use. The next one, if I just copy this down, it won't work, because it's not in the same format as the top one. So we will have to convert this to the same format. So how do we do that? First, we extract the year. So left 4. Then we extract the month, which will be left 6, 4. And then we extract the day, which will be left 4. Or right 1 actually, sorry. So right 1. Then we've got the 3 different components. If we concatenate that together, so 4 and a space and July and a space and a year, then we get the different components. If I apply the same date formula on this one, the date value formula on this field, it will then convert it to date. So that's another way of doing it. Another way of doing it is we can take this field, because if I go and I do the normal date formula, I say use the year, use the month, and use the day, it won't work because the July isn't a number. How do we make it a number? Let's go create a table from January up until December. We put numbers there. And then we do a VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP, the date, and then 2 and 0. So then we've got a number. And if I change this field then to the month, you've got a date as well. So that's the 2 ways of doing it. The date value formula for me is a bit easier. But there's 2 ways, and it also shows you the way mapping could work with dates. So dates is actually quite important that you get it in the right format.